People live into their 80s now because the health of the human race has improved extraordinarily over a period of decades. One of the most important contributions to the health of the world is the prevention of infections that can either disable or kill you. Maurice Hilleman is responsible for the development of vaccines that not only are childhood vaccines that protect you from dying at a very early age.
Maurice Ralph Hilleman was born on August 30th, 1919 in Custer County, Montana, USA. His mother and his twin sister had died when he was young. His mother's dying wish was for his sister to be buried in her arms and him to be raised by his aunt. He lived with his aunt and uncle, Edith and Bob. He had a very hard childhood, and the fact that he was born during the influenza pandemic made it even harder.
Maurice Hilleman graduated from high school in 1937 and was awarded a scholarship to Montana State College, which is now called Montana State University. He majored in chemistry and microbiology and graduated in 1941 at the top of his class. He then furthered his education at the University of Chicago.
There he studied chlamydia, which he found was caused by a bacterium, which meant it could be treated with antibiotics. Maurice and one of his professors also taught the first course ever offered in virology at the University of Chicago.
Then in 1943, he married his hometown sweetheart, Thelma Mason. Upon completion of his PhD in 1944, Dr. Hilleman started working at a company called the ER Squibb & Sons, where he developed his first vaccine. This vaccine protected the Japanese encephalitis virus, the most common encephalitis in the world. Infection of this disease could lead to swelling of the brain and death.
In 1949, Dr. Hilleman became the chief of respiratory diseases at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in Washington, D.C. His project was to study influenza virus. During this time, Dr. Hilleman made discoveries critical to our understanding of influenza.
At the end of 1957, shortly after his daughter was born, Dr. Hilleman began working for Merck & Co. to oversee their vaccine research and development. He remained at Merck for the rest of his career.
While at Merck, Dr. Hilleman developed vaccines to protect us from chickenpox, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, pneumococcus, meningococcus, measles, mumps, and rubella. He was also the first person to combine viral vaccines when he created the MMR vaccine. With one shot, children could be protected against 3 diseases: measles, mumps, and rubella.
The story of the mumps vaccine is unique because Dr. Hilleman isolated the virus from his daughter, Geraldine, when she contracted mumps in 1963. By weakening the mumps virus he had obtained from Geraldine, he was able to make a safe and effective mumps vaccine. The same strain of mumps virus is used to make mumps vaccines today.
It's an interesting kind of thing. Yes, there is personal satisfaction with doing something. It all goes back to that ethic of doing something useful and being useful to the world.